And welcome to tonight's episode of PCP, the Pagan Centered Podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Sam.
I'm Scarf.
Alright, and guest of honor for tonight is...
My name is Jill.
Alright, Jill is joining us from Frockfollies, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. But also joining us tonight are...
I'm Barrett.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Miles.
I'm Maria.
Alright, so we'll get more into Frockfollies after these messages. And we're back. Yay, post-production. So this was going to be an Amber episode, but Amber seems to be having really bad luck lately. So she's gotten like the flu or something today. So we're trying to handle this for her. So basically, what happens is Amber was looking through Etsy for awesome pagan shops, like she usually does every so often, and she's looking up hand-fasting cords and she came across a lot of shops that were selling hand-fasting cords for like $70, and that's not cool with her. But then there was one store that she stumbled upon that had some absolutely beautiful dresses, and she looked into it closer, and she saw that they had a lot of custom dresses, bridal dresses, a separate site just for ring pillows, and so the site that Amber stumbled upon was Frockfollies, and that's why Jill is here tonight. So Jill, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're located, and what all you do?
Yes, I work in England in a small seaside town on the coast, Broadstairs. We're very close to France. I've had a life working in the theatre and decided to go freelance and just really began making costumes, wedding dresses for people. The wedding dress side of it began to flourish. And I found a little niche market for hand-fasting ceremonies, pagan ceremonies, medieval weddings. Weddings for people who wanted something a little bit different. Maybe, not necessarily a white wedding dress, something just a little bit different. So I have found a niche market.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I know myself, I'm a guy, so all wedding dresses kind of look the same. So I tend not to notice all the patterns with laces and stuff. So I go to your site, I'm like, whoa, this stuff looks different and cool and awesome. And I know lots of people that would like this stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I've made one white wedding dress in my life. Just one.
So what inspired you to get into all this?
Well, I worked in the theatre. I trained in fashion, and I was inspired by people like Yves Saint Laurent and Jean Muir, Christian Dior. And when it came to actually going out and finding a job after my college tuition, I decided I felt that wasn't right for me, and I'd always had a passion for historical costume. In England, we have some wonderful television costume dramas, and I was particularly inspired by one called Poldark, that some people may remember. It could possibly still be being repeated on your television networks. And I wrote to the BBC, which is our main television company, who had produced this programme, and said I would love to come and work for them. And they said, well, you have to have a union card, so you need to go and work in the theatre. So I found a job with a company called English National Opera, who are based in London. And I stayed there for 17 years. And I finally decided to go freelance when I had my son. And I did a lot of freelance theatre work, but then sort of gradually it merged into making wedding dresses and my website and what have you. So, but I have I have had the most wonderful working life. I've enjoyed every minute of it, which a lot of people can't say.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I've had a lot of fun.
So basically, you would say that your time in the theater is what got you interested in doing like period style pieces, or
Oh, absolutely. I mean, theatre I've worked in three fields. I've worked in theatre, film, and television, and they're all slightly different. I mean, film work, you have to be so precise about every stitch. To give you an instance, I had someone working for me once, and I was asking her to try and sew something invisibly, and she said, well, why? And I said, well, this is going to be in the cinema on screens that are sort of 10 by 20 feet, and people will get a close-up, and it was a period film. It was a film of Jane Austen book called Emma, and I was making a costume for Gwyneth Paltrow. And sure enough, there was a close-up of her back. And if the girl that was working for me hadn't have done what I said, you would have seen hooks and bars showing through and what have you. And so film work is totally different. Theatre work, theatres tend to be a little bit smaller, so the customers aren't quite so close. But in opera, the venues are bigger. So you can technically get away with a lot in opera.
Oh, yeah. It just seems like that there would be so much more work to be doing period pieces instead of plain old the white dresses we just all made fun of.
Well, yes, but it's I always say to the ladies that come to me that if you have a corseted gown made for you, because I also do corseted wedding dresses. I've just done a couple of steampunk style dresses, which is quite big here in the UK.
It's huge over here too.
Is it? Oh, right. Okay,
oh, very much.
Yes.
Actually, Abney Park is playing Whitby sometime this month for the Goth Festival. So yeah, they're getting even better than we are.
But
That's true.
No, I mean, corsets, I love making corsets for people because it makes them stand differently, and it enhances everything because everything goes in and up. So they immediately have a better waistline and a better bust. And, it's just fun. That's the side of it I really love because it's more theatrical. Creating shape.
Wonderful.
Sorry,
I thought I had my mic muted. I was just I absolutely love mine because if I'm working in Renaissance Festival, I might be on my feet for 10 hours a day, and people don't realize how wonderful the back support is until they wear one.
Yeah, when I worked in opera, during the rehearsal period, we would always offer the ladies, if it was a truly period piece, we would always offer to make them a corset just for rehearsals so that they got the feel and they could stand properly. It's like, some actors say they can't get into their role unless they have their shoes. It's the same sort of thing,
Yes.
If it's a period piece and there's a skirt with a long train, then they need the train because they need to sort of manoeuvre themselves around furniture and what have you. So, yes, I love creating period pieces. Corsets especially.
I'm just trying to figure out how to... I got like this whole list of notes Amber gave me. I'm like, no, I just want to flow with the conversation, though. Well, before we go too far, I just want to give everybody a heads up that if they're interested, and we will mention the website again, for the dresses and stuff, you can go to Frockfollies.com, which is spelled exactly how you think it's spelled. And you can go to romantic-ring-pillows.co.uk for the rings.
Ring pillows.
Oh yeah, the pillows. Sorry, yeah. So how long have you been sewing stuff like this? I mean, it just seems like it's not something that you would learn like in an overnight stay at a friend's house. Teach me how to sew type of deal. It seems like there's a lot more to it than that.
Well, when I was about 12, I got on my mother's treadle sewing machine and machined through my finger.
Oh,
Ouch.
Bad.
My thumbnail. That was the start of it. I just love creating things, and it just grew from there. Really, you know, a passion. I've done a recent photo shoot with my local hairdressers. Everyone was involved. The stylists, a couple of them modelled. One of them did the hair. Someone else did the photos, and they're the most recent pictures that gone on my website. And we had a fantastic time. It was just, you know, it's finding new directions to go in. You know, I never dreamed I would sort of say to my hairdressing salon, "Can I come here and do a photo shoot?" But I did, and it's benefited both of us because they've got some wonderful pictures for their Facebook page, and I've got some lovely pictures for my website with wonderful hairdos and makeup thrown in. I've forgotten what you asked me.
I was just asking how long you've been doing it, actually.
How long? No, forever. You know, my fingertips are full of holes, but I just love what I do. You know, every day I have an idea for something, and it's just whether or not I have the time to actually take it to fruition, basically. I'm inspired by so many things. You know, I can see a piece of fabric, or, you know, that recently, it's autumn here now, and the leaves have been falling off the trees, and they're all wonderful array of colours, sort of burgundies and orange and rust, and it just inspires me to do another dress in those colours. And I love art. I love the work of people like Matisse and Dufy and the colours that they used. They were Fauvist painters, and it's just, you know, I find everything is an inspiration to me.
Snooze, I know you had a question, so you want to jump in here?
Hey, it's a bit rambly, but I am curious. Just like I said, I've done a piddling small, ridiculously low-budget amount of community theater and Renaissance festivals, and I'm familiar with the fact that theater is usually, especially if you're doing a really, really active program, it's a lot harder on clothes frequently than film is. And I remembered some things that we've had to do to a few costumes. Plus, the thing that immediately leapt to mind was an interview where they were talking about having to doctor some of the costumes for Phantom because of all of the physical activity. Have you had to jiggle some of your designs to accommodate the fact that someone has to fall down a flight of steps or anything like that? Engineering as well as seamstressing and tailoring?
Not that. I did have to, I was working on the production of Simon Boccanegra, which is an opera by Verdi, and one of the leading ladies had a skin-tight dress. It literally fitted where it touched. And she had to walk across the stage with a globe in her hand, like a round light shade that lit up, and they just could not decide where to put the power pack to light it. So I came up with the idea that the wire went up her arm, because she had long sleeves, up her arm, down her body, and the power pack was strapped between her legs.
That's clever.
I call that fashion engineering.
Yeah.
We also had another production of Carmen, which was set in the sort of 60s, and they had, you know, the Madonna bra with the sort of cones, the famous.
Right. Oh Lord,
yeah,
bra.
Yeah. And it was the production was mic'd, and the lady playing Carmen, they had, again, she stripped down to her underwear, bra and pants, and they said, where are we going to put the power pack? Where are we going to put the power pack? And I said, well, in the bra, because we just pad it less. So the bra went in the cone. Sorry, the mic went in the cone.
Yes.
So, yeah, there's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way.
So I know there's a lot of different styles when it comes to sewing. I am very much a novice when it comes to sewing. I did the whole go over to a female's house and I'm like, teach me how to sew and I'll make you dinner, type of deal. And I'm just amazed at how much there is to sewing out there. It's not just putting a thread and a needle through a piece of fabric. Now, are there different styles of sewing that you use, or does this require its own different style, or the wedding dresses and stuff that you do now? Like, what all? Can you fill us in on what all's involved with this?
Well, I'm going to give away my secrets.
Okay,
now.
don't give away your secrets.
Well, no,
Just
I mean,
tease us with your
I have. Sorry. I have two distinct sections to my website. One is the custom section, which is the medieval pagan hand-fasting dresses. And those are quite basic dresses for me to make personally. They're very straightforward. It's a slightly stretched fabric and there's a lot of lacing involved. So they're fairly simple and fairly easy for people to wear. The other side of it is the couture section of my website, which is corseted, which means you've got steels that are involved in the bodices because you're creating a shape with the corset. And there's just a lot more intricate work involved, a lot of extra stitching because you're creating little channels to put spiral steels down and channels for the eyelets. And if it's a proper corset, a Victorian corset, you might have a busk down the front, which was invented in the Victorian period basically to help ladies get dressed quicker. So you could undo the front. It's a metal steel contraption which has little hooks on one side and little stumps on the other side, and you basically hook one side over the other, and it means that you can keep the back of the corset laced, so you don't waste time lacing to get dressed. So there's a lot more work in one side of my business than the other, let's say, which is reflected in the prices, obviously. But I love making both of them equally because as I said before, I love creating things, and I get up every day and I think, oh, what am I going to do today? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And it's fun. And I love to have the time to create something brand new. If I'm not doing orders, then I think about what I'm going to create next.
I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, especially in a day now, nowadays where everything's so mass-produced and manufactured and machined, it's nice to have people do stuff by hand and take great pride in the work that they do. Absolutely,
and the thing is that even my custom dresses, which, for me, the custom-made side is someone orders a dress, they send me their measurements, and I make them dress to their measurements, but I am making them to their measurements, not just a stock size. I don't say, right, you're a size 12, I'll make the dress a size 12. I send them a measurement chart, and I ask for their individual measurements, their height, their bust, their waist, their hips. And the dress is made specifically. A lot of sites that do what I do will just make a dress to a size 12 or a 14. And they don't ask what height you are. Everyone is different. Every single person is different. And I allow for that with what I do and the service that I offer. I must say that I make an awful lot of dresses for larger ladies. And I think it's because I do offer that service.
Yeah. Yeah, I know as a larger guy, especially when I was quite a bit bigger than what I am now, finding clothes that fit well was basically impossible. So, whereas, I'm glad to be at the point where I can go to the store now and just pick something up. Ladies have a whole extra dimension of stuff to worry about that guys don't.
It's very difficult for some ladies to actually acknowledge what size they are. And I've discovered that quite a lot over the last year or two since I've had the website, that, you know, someone will come on and tentatively say, oh, I'm a size 18 or a size 20. And then you say, right, okay, that's fine, I can make your dress. And when you send the measurement chart and you get the measurements back, they're actually a lot bigger. And I don't know if it's denial or they have never really measured themselves. And it's a very delicate line where you sort of say to someone, well, actually, you're not that size, you're this size, or you just make the dress and send it off. But, you know, that is the beauty of what I do. I can make dresses for people, and you know, there's so many different shapes.
Exactly.
So many different shapes. You know, I make dresses for people where I can't even meet my tape measure around the hips. But hey, this is what I'm here for, to make people's dreams come true.
Clothes for men as well, or just ladies' dresses?
Oh no, I don't do men.
Really?
Just ladies. Just
Okay.
ladies. I can't go there. It would be too much work. No, just ladies. Just ladies.
Yeah, I never realized how much goes into a men's suit until I started looking up how to do tailoring. I'm like, whoa, my head just exploded.
Well, you see, when I worked in opera, we had the ladies' end who did the ladies' costumes, and we had the men's end who did the tailoring. And they would get their cut-out suits, the flat pieces from the tailor, and the girls would just sit there and silently sew. And I thought, what a lovely life. But, you know, suit's a suit at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's much more fun doing ladies' costumes. But I have a wonderful friend who is a men's tailor, and he loves what he does. But at the end of the day, a suit's a suit.
Yeah. Yeah, at the end of the day, they all look the same. And the most we could do is, like, maybe have a fancy tie.
I don't know, if you work it out right, like, say, if someone came to you and said, hey, what I'm looking for is something in, you know, that would be like a 13th century gown, we're going to do a period wedding, your friend is who you would refer their groom to for something that, you know, a complimentary outfit.
Oh, yes, mm-hmm. Yeah. I also have links to a couple of sites that do really nice sort of Renaissance style jackets and things. Don't ask me because I can't give the names off the top of my head, but I certainly have a couple of pictures on my website from people who've gone to these places. I mean, there is stuff out there, and it's not expensive. I don't know what the quality is like, but it's not expensive and it looks good.
I definitely have to say, looking through your website, that your gowns and dresses are definitely pieces of art. And I understand that idea of not wanting to go into something like the men's, because everything that you're doing with the dresses, from the material to color to the texture and everything else, is all part of that. And I think what you're doing is absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you. I sort of try to be very even between the custom section and the couture, but my heart is in the couture section, because I just love creating silhouettes. It's my raison d'etre, if you like. It's my reason for living.
So most of the work that you get, is it mostly just for pre-designed stuff? Because for stuff you've already designed is just freaking amazing. But do you get a lot of those, or is it mostly custom work, or are you kind of split like half and half?
It depends. I mean, on the custom section, I just get a lot of people who say, right, I want this dress in this colour, and that's it. But then you get the people who say, could I have that dress with those sleeves? And could I have it in this colour, and could you do it in another fabric? And I'm quite happy to accommodate people. On the couture section, my couture dresses are really there just to say to people, this is what I can do. This is a springboard for you to come back to me and say, could you do this for me? I've got a young lady at the moment who lives in Scotland who has come to see me about a dress, and she was inspired by a film called Labyrinth with
Awesome!
We know it very well.
Oh, yeah, I
David
can
Bowie.
like that dialogue.
Yes, lots of that.
And I bet I know which dress she's even thinking about.
Well, it was the ball dress.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
That dress is legendary.
this is the sort of thing I love because it's a challenge. And she's not a small girl, but she's not massive. But it will be fun because she's totally thrown herself into it. And, you know, she's up for anything, basically. And that's the sort of thing I like. No. It's, I will take on almost anything because it's a challenge, and, you know, that's what life's for, isn't it, really? My job would be very mundane if I got up every day and had to do the same thing over and over again.
Or if someone came to you, had they take idea for a wedding dress, and all they have is a notion of something that looks like what might be nice on them.
Yeah.
What design process would you use to go from their vague notions to a finished product?
I'm totally honest with people. If someone has chosen, if they're large and they've chosen like an off-the-shoulder dress, I have to say, you couldn't wear something like that. It's not right for your figure. I've always been like this, I'm afraid, which has got me into a lot of trouble sometimes. But no, you have to be honest, and most people accept it. I wouldn't make something just because someone wanted it. I would have to have my input and give my ideas and say, well, that might not work, but this will.
Well, that would still put you ahead of some I'm not even going to say designers, fitters. I've stopped doing the bridesmaid gig because I've gone in and heard people just be horrible, absolutely horrible to anyone who wasn't a stick. So good for you.
I don't do bridesmaids, and I also say on my website for my couture section that I won't have any more than 2 people coming with the bride.
Oh, I've heard them do it I've heard them do it to someone who was feeling fitted for a bride dress too.
Yeah.
So good for you.
It's just, you see, everyone has their own opinion, and it's very easy to, you always get a bit of bullying in these situations, where, bride has come along with two best friends in inverted commas, and, they're not actually. And they start saying quite catty comments. So I always say, yes, come along maybe for the first consultation with your friends, but after that I want to see you on your own, because you know what you want, and you don't need someone else saying, oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's quite right.
Mother of the bride from hell.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I had a mother once who absolutely stood there and said to her daughter, I can't see why you're paying for this dress because I think it's awful. And she looked absolutely stunning. It was blue and gold silk, and her daughter looked absolutely stunning. And she just turned round to her mother and she said, shut up, mother. And I thought, good for you.
Good for her.
But, these are situations you have to deal with. Tensions get very fraught in wedding situations.
Oh, yeah. That's another reason I quit doing them. Just for curiosity, it's a bit of a sideways segue, but it does kind of bear something on something you were talking about just a moment ago. I have to ask this out of curiosity because Miles and I do get involved in pagan hand fastings and events like that because he's official clergy and I wind up being the gopher. I know that there are some differences, some social differences in the UK as opposed to over here, just from friends and his family and that sort of thing. How much? I'm trying to think of the way to phrase this so that it doesn't sound like it sounds more like a social question than it does a business question. How much business do you get from the pagan community there that's quite open, quite perfectly okay with telling everybody, yes, we're having a pagan hand fasting, and that's one of the, we want such and such maybe incorporated into a design and that kind of thing. As I noticed that you have people across the pond on both sides. Does it really compare the amount of business or the amount of clientele that you get?
I seem
to get too vague a question.
No. Most of my custom-made dresses go to America for hand fasting ceremonies. That's all I can say. But we have a big following here in England, and a couple of years ago, I met a wonderful chap called Matthew Callow, and I'm going to give a plug here because he's been a massive influence in my life in the last couple of years. And he's about 21 years old, and he's so talented. And he produces a magazine called The Magical Times, which is, he lives in Brighton. He publishes it himself, and it's all about spiritual, fairy, Wicca, pagan. It's a fantastic magazine, and he sells it in America. And he, every now and again, he phones me up and says, I need your dresses for an advert. And he does me a wonderful advert, and I just send the pictures, and he puts fairy dust on them. And I think, oh, that didn't look like that when I sent it. But no, he's a very talented man. It's a fantastic magazine, and that's my plug, actually.
Thank you.
The Magical Times. You can find it online. No.
We definitely need to start plugging you because not only are your rates wonderfully reasonable, we do have people over here that one of the problems they run into is that they can't be completely honest with whoever they might be getting their dress from unless it's a family member or someone in the community.
That's right.
They can't. In fact, there was a big to-do here not too long ago because I believe it was in New Jersey. So a bridal shop asked they quit in the right before the wedding and said, "I'm sorry, we're not going to furnish you a dress. We don't even want you to come back in our shop again because you're evil." So I need to start plugging you.
Oh, right, because of their religious beliefs.
That's right.
That was one of the reasons I was asking the question a minute ago. I was like, okay, this is fantastic. This woman does lovely work, and she's not going to play the, you're the spawn of Satan card. So
you see,
I definitely need to start plugging you.
Thank you. I have no religious beliefs otherwise than I was brought up as a Christian, but I just love making wedding dresses for people, and if I can make their day, it makes my day. I have so many happy brides that get back to me and say, I look fantastic, and everyone, I'm plugging myself here. But it's
okay. This is your show.
But that, you see, because I used to work in the theatre, I used to go to rehearsals, and I would sit and watch a rehearsal and think, oh, what a lovely dress. Oh, I made that. So I'm quite self-deprecating, but, I just love what I do. I love what I do.
And if I can at it that way, we'd all be better off.
Right. If I can make someone's day, then, it's fantastic. And if they send me pictures, that's even more fantastic, because I can put them on my website. There are a lot of people who get back and say, I had a wonderful day, I look fantastic, everyone said I look great, but they never send me photos.
Well, they should.
Oh, they should. They absolutely should. I actually had a lady 2 weeks ago who contacted me from Hollywood. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
And she wanted 3 dresses from me, but she wanted one for Halloween. And she offered to pay me more than double what the dress was worth.
Wow.
And she paid to have it FedExed overnight, which cost her, I think, over £100, which is about a lot of dollars.
Yeah, over 175 now.
That's right.
Yeah, but I thought, wow, this woman's either crazy or she's got vision, But no, it's... And then you get some people who sort of say, oh, I love your dresses, but I can't afford them. And I don't think my custom-made dresses are that expensive. I think they're quite reasonably priced. I mean, they are well made. I don't want to promote myself too much, but they are well made. I put a lot of love into them. And I know one of the questions you were going to ask me was, have I ever had any strange requests about braiding hair or something? I don't in my custom dresses, but in my couture ones, I do always put a little lock of hair in the hem for good luck.
I never heard of that. That's actually kind of interesting.
That's thrown you all. Well, you had a question that you were going to ask.
I just marked it off.
Yeah. No, I do in my couture ones. It's a little bit of a tradition over here, or maybe a very old tradition, but I still do it. I just put a little lock of hair in the hem for good luck.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people, I know especially in the tradition I practice, a lot of people take a lot of interest in, what goes into making something. Because they feel that if they are consuming something or wearing something or taking part in something or funding something, that reflects on them, not just, in a mundane kind of way, but also in a spiritual kind of way that, paying for quality is worth it, basically. But, we talk a lot about, that you can, do orders and stuff, but what exactly is involved with that? I know a lot of people familiar with the general process of, getting a tattoo, for example. You come up with a sketch, or you commission an artist to do a sketch, you hang it over to the tattoo artist, they're like, yes, this is doable, no, this is not doable, and they just do it. I imagine with dresses, things are a little more slower and more complicated. So how much lead time should they be giving you? Like say they're having a wedding, I don't know, at a certain point, how many months or a year in advance should they be contacting you with this?
Well, this changes on a daily basis for me, because it really depends how much work I have. And
of course.
I know you found me on Etsy, and I think I say on Etsy 14 to 21 days delivery. But it's difficult sometimes, because if I get a bit of theatre work in, because I still do a bit of theatre work, that has to take precedence, because it's lots of money.
Of course.
Appreciate that.
Right.
Absolutely. But, I have my diary, and what I say to people is, if you want to dress for a certain occasion, a wedding, and it's, say, 6 months away, don't assume that you can come back 2 weeks before your wedding and order the dress. If you've got a specific date, contact me and place an order, because I can't guarantee that I'm going to be free to run up a dress for you for your wedding. So if it's a specific thing, a festival, wedding, whatever, order it well in advance. I do have time sometimes to run up a couple of dresses, maybe, and get them out within the time I state, but it's very rare now, very rare. I've had so much interest in the website. And through Etsy, Etsy's been fantastic to me, which is how you found me, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. It's been fantastic. I mean, my sales on Etsy amount actually to 2 but most people contact me through the website and buy through the website. So that figure of 2 actually means nothing. Etsy is a channel to my website. But I love Etsy. I spend a lot of time on Etsy, more time than I should. It's fascinating.
So what degree of, like, how much information do you need for a person in order to design a dress for them? Like, do they need a rough sketch? Do they need something a little more detailed? Like, what level of detail are you looking for from your customers, essentially?
Well, for instance, my bride who has ended up with a dress from the Labyrinth, she first of all contacted me and said she liked my dresses on my couture section, which is the corseted silk dresses. She loved my dresses. Would I consider making one for her? And I said yes. So then she got back to me and she said, can I send you some reference? So she sent me a reference from a film called Stardust, I think.
Okay.
And Labyrinth and something else with puppets in. And I looked at those and I got back, yes, yeah, I'd love to do that. So I asked her, she said she'd already told me she was large, not small, but slightly large. So I said, well, send me a photograph. So looked at the photograph and I gave her a sort of ballpoint figure. And she came to see me a couple of weeks ago and we discussed fabric, we looked at fabric, and I'm just about to order her fabric. So, it depends. I mean, her wedding isn't till next June, and I will do my first fitting in January 2002.
Can I throw a question in here? I was talking to a gentleman that does Civil War reenactments down here and had a friend that did the costumes for that. But every once in a while they would run across the actual fabric from different time periods that they were looking at. Do you ever happen to find the actual fabrics from time periods, or is that something that you look for, or just constantly are keeping an eye out for, or something along those lines?
I don't. Within my website dresses and my Etsy dresses, purely because you can't guarantee the quality of them and how long they're going to last. I don't know if you've heard of the Globe Theatre in London.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, on the South Bank. I worked on the very first show where Mark Rylance played Henry V, and the designer was very, very particular, and all the fabrics that we used were old, not necessarily from the period of Henry V, but they were old. And, you'd be working with a piece of silk and it was falling to pieces as you were working with it, and it was rather silly. And by the time it got to the first night, after all the rehearsals and the dress rehearsal, the costumes are falling to pieces. The silk was like paper, and there were these actors in wonderful doublets and hose, and their costumes were sort of falling off them. So you have to draw the line somewhere. I think, and I did a costume for that show, which was for the maid of the wife of the King of Spain or something. I can't remember, it's so long ago. But I was cutting up antique lace and it broke my heart. And I thought, I shouldn't be doing this. This should be in a museum somewhere. What is the point? It's going to go on a stage. No one will know it's antique lace. So I don't believe in using the real thing. It's not worth it. It should be kept for someone to lovingly touch and keep in their bottom drawer or whatever, but not to be used and cut up for costumes, I'm afraid. I mean, there's so many good reproductions. I use a lot of damask fabric, which is stunning. Damask is quite often now used for curtains and sofas. It's a big pattern, and it's repeated, and it's just wonderful. And I use it for corsets and things, and no one knows, Hey ho. Sorry, I'm waffling.
It's okay. What are your thoughts on fur?
No. I have cats.
Okay.
Don't go there. Well, no. I mean, you very rarely find fur now used in the theatre, even. Real fur. No. Don't want to answer that one, sorry.
Well, you just did, but that's okay.
I guess I'll step in here. So I know you have a lot of international clients. I'm just wondering, how does the fitting process work, especially with women, when the person's like on another continent? Like I know with guys, we can just go to the tuxedo store, like measure me up. They hand over a piece of paper with some measurements, and I fax it over to the store I need to get my suit from, and everything's okay. And women are a little more complicated. So I'm wondering how that works.
Absolutely. Well, with my custom dresses, when someone places an order, I send them a measurement chart. And it's a basic measurement chart, but it gives me the measurements I need to make a dress. And it also gives me cross-references for measurements, so I can tell immediately if someone's done the measurement wrong, which means I just email them back and say, can you do that again? With the couture section, they come to me and I measure them. Women are a lot more complicated, you're correct.
Yeah, I bounced all the way around this list of questions, so...
That's okay. What's your favorite historical time period to reproduce, if you have one?
I love the 18th century, 1700s, with the panniers and the corsets with the lappets on the bottom. If you think of the film Dangerous Liaisons, yes?
Mm-hmm.
With Glenn Close and...
John Malkovich.
John Malkovich, absolutely, yes.
I like the Colin Firth version better, but...
Well, yes. Colin Firth is a lot sexier in costume than out of costume, let me tell you. No. I love that period. I love creating shapes and silhouettes. I also love the sort of... there's a dress on my website called... Oh, God, I've forgotten the name. Let me look at it quickly. Totally inspired by John Singer Sargent. Yes, the American artist. Yes. Okay. And the dress is called... let me have a quick look. It's named after my niece, actually, I think, who's modelling it. Floria. And it's a very, very simple Edwardian dress. And John Singer Sargent did a painting of a lady called Madam X standing against a table. And it's... Oh, God, I've forgotten the question again. What did you ask me? So I'm so sorry. I've gone off on one. I'm just trying to talk about my dress.
We do that.
Anyway, it's lovely. It's called Florio, and it's very Edwardian, and it was based on an artist called John Singer Sargent, who inspires me a lot. I love art. I absolutely love art. And if ever I go on holiday abroad, I love Venice and I love Paris. I always look and see what is on art-wise, exhibitions, and just make a beeline. because I just find it totally fascinating. And, you know, you can see works of art you may never see again because they're in private collections all over the world. And, you know, I've been to Paris to see a collection of Matisse and the Fauves, who really were down in the south of France, but they suddenly did this little exhibition in Paris, and I said to my son, we're off to Paris. I just, you know, I just love art, and it inspires me so much, so much. Sorry, I've gone off on one again.
That's fine. We do that all the time.
I'm English. But,
right, so
anyway,
one thing I forgot to ask. One thing
I was going to say, what was the question you asked me?
I don't know. Does anybody even remember the question they asked at this point?
No.
No, but it was interesting, so who cares?
Yeah.
That's right.
We said stuff that was interesting. That's all we care about. So when a person goes through all the trouble of getting the dress made, you go through all the trouble making it. Now, what happens, you know, after the big day, and now they got this dress that they want to, you know, keep maintained. You know, a lot of people take a lot of pride in their wedding dress, and rightfully so.
Yep.
What kind of care needs to be taken of this dress to make sure it lasts and doesn't, you know, quickly degrade into dust?
Well, not quite dust, but no. I mean, the custom-made dresses, the velvet dresses, can go through the washing machine, but I would recommend dry cleaning. And the couture gowns, the silky ones, definitely dry cleaning. Otherwise, you'd end up with a tiny, tiny, tiny little dress. You're running out of questions, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm marking things off Amber's list here.
There's a list. He does have a list.
I've been speaking to Amber for months over the internet.
Yeah, and she's really, like, totally heartbroken that she couldn't be here tonight.
Wow.
So, she's like, please make this show happen. We've been talking for months. I'm like, okay, I'll make it happen.
I know, it was difficult because I suddenly found I had to totally redo my website, which took a lot of work, but we're there now. It's finished. Hey ho. And
Amber's here in spirit. She's listening in and giving a little bit of feedback.
Oh, good. Hello, Amber. I have so many more ideas for the custom section. I have today I took delivery of some wonderful lace and I want to do a hooded lace handfasting dress for pagan ceremonies. I have lots of ideas. If only I had 48 hours in a day. It'd be fantastic. And didn't have to cook dinner. Hey.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
So speaking of fabric type, what material do you work with mostly, and you know why?
Well, the custom dresses are mainly crushed velvet. It has a slight stretch to it, which is very sort of accommodating. Mm-hmm. I also use taffeta in this section, and I'm going to be introducing some lovely lace. In the couture section, it's mainly silk or taffeta. I mean, my couture section, the dresses are a lot more expensive, obviously. But, you know, it's because people come to me for fittings. Although, as I think I said earlier, I've done a couple of steampunk corsety type dresses, which I will be able to do as custom made as long as people can give me very good, reliable measurements. But then I send a measurement chart. So, yeah, I mean, the fabrics vary. I mean, if someone wanted to order a custom dress in something other than velvet, I can accommodate that. They just need to understand that there might be a price difference because I'm obviously spending more time and sourcing fabrics, what have you.
Yeah, and basically, from what I've seen, a lot of the pricing basically boils down to how long it's taking you to put it together, and the quality of and also the cost of the materials that are going into it.
Yeah. The couture section is a lot more time consuming, and the fabrics are a lot more expensive than the custom section. But I totally understand that people have different needs and different sort of different amounts of money to spend on their weddings. I'm totally in tune with that, which is why I have the two sides. You can have a lovely wedding dress for not a lot of money, or you can go totally over the top and have something corseted and silky. Whatever you want, I can accommodate.
Yeah, especially it's a huge trend here in the States to there's this huge subculture that's just into steampunk, and anything they can do steampunk, they will do. Whether it's wedding dresses down to keyboards that they use for their computer, everything.
Oh wow, it's very big then.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know? Last week I had a photo shoot on Monday, as I said earlier, for my new dresses on the website, and I had a couple of steampunks, and I was trying to find a little tiny top hat for one of the dresses, and I spent hours on the internet just looking for the perfect thing. And I ended up just finding a very plain hat and decorating it myself with feathers, and it looked fantastic. But no, steampunk's a very interesting thing for me, actually, because it's sort of what I do, but you've got to go a little bit off the wall with it.
Yeah.
As well.
It's old, it's new, and it's custom all at the same time.
Yeah, but you see, what goes around comes around. Nothing is new. Nothing. Particularly in clothes. Everything sort of has been done somewhere else.
Oh yeah, I know that. My parents, they're totally of a different generation, and they see something come into style from my generation, like, we did that when we were kids. It's like, yep, but we know.
Well, I went out with my son about a year ago. We were going to the local dump to dump some rubbish, and he said, I'm going to play my music when I get into the car. And he put in Guns N' Roses, and I don't actually like Guns N' Roses, but he was playing a track that I knew, and I started singing, and he said, I didn't know you liked this sort of music, and switched it off. Hey. Sorry, segue there.
That is perfectly fine. We're all about the segues here.
That's right.
But what goes around comes around.
Oh yeah, definitely. That happens all over the place too. Even in as computer geeks, we like to say, "Oh, everything's brand new." It's not. We're seeing technologies from 20 years old come back.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's not talk about using really old technologies right now.
Yeah, I know you got some pain with that at the moment. So back on track.
Wait, where I got to call a museum for replacement parts.
Go ahead, Miles.
Although with technological advancements and such, has the has the day-to-day work that you do changed much in the past 5 centuries? Or rather, dressmaking innovations, I don't know, that you might use? If that question even makes any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No, so I think, were you asking me if I make my dresses differently to what they would have done centuries ago?
Not really. I was trying to look for a way to ask if the procedure of dressmaking has changed at all since the 1600s. I mean,
yes, of course it has.
Tiles have changed, but has the what am I trying to say?
No, I know what you're trying to say. Yes, it has, because if I had been doing what I do, say 400 years ago, I would have hand sewn everything, obviously, because there weren't sewing machines, and all the inside seams would have been oversewn. Whereas I have an overlocker, which trims and edges the seams inside a garment. If you look inside a lady's skirt, for instance, you will see that the seams are very delicately cut and overlocked, and that's what I use. It's quite difficult to explain to someone who doesn't sew, but yeah, I mean, the techniques have changed. I mean, basically from the fact that I can sit at a sewing machine, and I also have...
Well, sure.
I also have a wonderful embroidery machine that does bits and pieces for me. Things have totally changed. Totally.
Had sergers or an overlock machine 100 years ago or whatever.
Snooze, I think you're still on mute.
Sorry?
I think you're still on mute. You're kind of far away.
Oh, okay. Not that I can tell. Maybe I've jiggled the thing. Sorry. Ignore that.
Oh.
If you just type it in room, I'll ask it for you.
Let me try this. Sorry. Is that any better?
Yeah, it's slightly better.
Is that any better?
That is perfect.
There you are.
Okay, cool.
That's back.
All I was doing was making an inane observation about how if they'd had sergers and overlock, technology 100 years ago, good God knows what they'd have come out with.
Oh, absolutely. You can say that in any field, really, can't you? Yeah. Yeah.
So with the period dresses, what do you find is the most difficult thing about doing the period dresses?
Well, it depends whether you're talking about my custom section or my...
Well, let's just, for the sake of argument, let's just talk about the custom section.
Right, well, it's sort of getting the look that... I mean, if I wanted to do true medieval costumes, I could do them. But in the custom section, I'm doing what people want. Yeah, it's what they think a medieval costume looks like. The dresses that lace down the front are so popular because people think that's it. That's medieval. They watch films and they think that's the look. That's what I want. I would like to do more stylized things actually, but it's difficult when it's custom made because you're not seeing the person. You're just getting the measurements, making a dress, and sending it off.
Cool. I wasn't expecting that, but that thank you. Let's see. So, what do you find most enjoyable about the stuff you do? I know you kind of alluded to this a few times, but like, if you had to pick like one thing that was like, this is totally what I love about doing this, can you summarize that for us?
Well, the whole thing, or
like
just
the process,
what I do now?
like from start to finish on like any given dress. What would be your favorite part of doing all that?
Well, I've just done a dress actually, which I just put on my website. I finished it on Monday, and we did a photo shoot, and it's called Gemma, Gemma. It's in the couture section, and it's a dress that I've been wanting to make for a long, long time. I had a piece of tulle, which is like tutu fabric. Yes, it's net. It's very lightweight net. And I had some peachy pink coloured taffeta. And I thought I can make the most wonderful dress out of this. And it took a long, long time. And then I spoke to my hairdresser and I said, I want to do a photo shoot. She said, come to the salon and do it. And we did this on Monday, just gone. And I created, I think, the most wonderful wedding dress I've ever created. And I keep looking at it and thinking, wow, I you can't believe I did that. I get a thrill out of doing something like that.
So would it be safe to say that's been your favorite project so far, or is this?
No. I mean, I'm very proud of my theatrical and film career.
That is something to be very proud of. Like, you've been with a lot of
Yeah.
big names. That is something. I mean, you're very humble about that, and that's a big deal to be, with the BBC, in the Globe Theatre. I mean, every big name there is in the UK. I mean, you've been with.
Well, yes. I mean, I learnt my trade through the English National Opera, and when I had my son 21 years ago, I mean, it was difficult in England 21 years ago to work and have children. It was employees weren't that easy on you. They didn't make it easy for working mothers, and I had to go freelance. And because I'd made contacts within English National Opera, I then started getting offers, even when I was sort of still pregnant. When I left work and was pregnant, I was getting work offers, and I thought, well, I'll wait a little bit. And then, I started to take on stuff, and I worked on films. I worked on Phantom of the Opera, and I worked on Elizabeth for Kate Blanchett. And I mean, I guess if you ask me what my favourite or the pinnacle of my career was, I made a costume for Heather Graham in From Hell with Johnny Depp. And I didn't just make one costume, I made 6 identical costumes because they didn't know how the shooting was going to go. They were going to Prague. There was going to be a lot of blood involved, so I had to make 6 identical costumes. So I would say my film work is the pinnacle of my career. It was fun, absolutely fun. And, every now and again you sat down in the evening and they say, oh, this film's on tonight. You think, oh, I worked on that, and I'm so starstruck. And I actually found out a couple of weeks ago I'm actually by marriage related to the lady who played Cher's father's lover in Moonstruck, which is my favourite film ever. And I'm sort of related to this woman. Can't believe it, but hey, yeah. But no, I've also made for Keira Knightley in a television production of Oliver Twist and Maggie Smith. I've done so much I can't remember anymore. It's sort of, but life moves on. I do what I do now. This is my life now, and I love it.
Yeah, it's always fun when you were involved with something, and then one day it just turns up in some unexpected place. You're like, oh yeah, I help with that.
Absolutely, yeah. But I mean, the thing with the From Hell film, I actually took friends to see it and was able to say, I made that dress, and they went, ooh. Because everyone knows Heather Graham, and it was a Johnny Depp film. And we all love Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah.
He's in England at the moment.
Hey, another good reason to go back.
That's right.
One of the things that and I'm thinking over some of the dresses that you've made now for the things that I've seen. One of the things that I like about your designs is I've seen people do period costume, and it's very stiff. It looks like even when they're walking, it's like, okay, someone's just put a mannequin on wheels. Your stuff has movement and flow in it, even in the still pictures.
Yeah,
and I like that very much.
That's because they're still clothes. People have to wear them. They're still clothes, and I guess when I worked in opera, it's different because you had to enhance some very large ladies with lots of boning and steels and corsets and what have you. But when you get into film and theatre, they tend to be a lot slimmer and younger, and you are actually making clothes. And we have a series on television at the moment here called Downton Abbey.
I've got the first season of it, yeah.
Right, okay.
I like anything with Maggie Smith in it.
Well, I've made for Maggie Smith. I made for Maggie Smith in David Copperfield.
Mm-hmm.
She was...
the first time she and Daniel Radcliffe were together.
Oh, well, yes, and I'll tell you something funny. I was in the costume. I'd gone up to, I think it was Pinewood, where they shoot a lot of things, and they had a big caravan type thing, which was the costume department. And I'd gone up there to fit Maggie Smith, and I laid all my costumes down on the floor to pack them in my bags to bring home. And this young lad came up through the back door, ran straight across my costumes, and I said, "Hey, don't do that. They're Maggie Smith's costumes." About 5 years later, I realised that was Harry Potter.
He was what, maybe 8 when they made that? It was a little kid.
He was tiny. Yeah. But no, that was. I've had so much fun working on things like that. It's I can't begin to tell you. I mean, it was my. I couldn't imagine ever doing anything else for a living. I've had such a wonderful time.
You're right, though, and I think that's one of the. I think that explains what I'm looking at, is the fact that you're coming at it from, yes, they're costumes, but they're still going to be clothes.
Yeah.
It's like it's an abstract or whatever, but it's like I said, I like the fact that they don't look static even in the stills. They look,
and the problem when I worked in opera, that was my big problem, that you're creating these sort of very austere costumes for people to wear, because a lot of opera singers are quite large. But when I did a lot of work for a company called Cosprop, who do a lot of period dramas for television, and their work is immaculate. And they did Sense and Sensibility, the film, Pride and Prejudice. They did From Hell, oh gosh, I'm looking at the picture now. Vanity Fair, which I worked on. They did all things like that, and their raison d'etre is, people wear these things, they're clothes. Yeah, so you make them to be worn, not to be sort of sat in as a costume. They are actually clothes.
Brilliant.
Engrossed in your work as you are.
Sorry?
I'll try again. I'm stutter occasionally. As engrossed in your work as you are, what do you do to relax?
Oh, well, I love music. I like Rufus Wainwright. Oh, you've all gone quiet.
Well, we're listening.
No, I like Rufus
Wainwright. I've got a couple of songs of his. Let's see. Hallelujah was the big one, but good grief.
Well,
there's two more that I really love of his, and now I can't think of them.
Hallelujah is a Leonard Cohen song.
Yeah, but I like Rufus
but his version
Wainwright's version much better. Sorry, Leonard, but...
I've seen Rufus Wainwright 4 times now in London. I do love listening to music and seeing live music. We're very lucky where we live. We have a lot of live music. What else do I do? I have a lot of books on art. I love art. And if I have free time, I sit and look at my books. I have a big film DVD collection. I'm very into the arts, basically, I guess. And the theatre in London, I love going up to London to the theatre. I used to live in London. I don't now live by the seaside, but we're only about an hour and a half away from London, and we go up as often as we can to see things. We're going up to Chicago just before Christmas. All things arty. All things arty. It's my life, I'm afraid. Very sad.
No.
But you see, I have friends who friends I get on with very well, but don't have any of my inclinations towards the arts at all. Very strange.
If I like Globe Theater, what's that? Is that a place where I can watch movies?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, you see, I remember. I dropped my son off at school when he was about 6 or 7, and another mum in the playground said to me, "Oh, what are you off to do now? Are you going home?" And I said, "Well, no, I'm going up to London. I'm going up to do some costume fittings, and then I'm going to the Portrait Gallery to see an exhibition." And she said, "Oh, I so envy you and your life. I wish I could do that." And I thought, well, you could if you made the effort. You know, you just need to get on a train and go there. Sorry.
Get out from in front of the TV and go have a real life.
Absolutely. Life is what you make of it. Life is what you make of it.
Yeah, especially in London where everything is like usually within 50 steps of a tube station. Yeah.
Well, absolutely. I mean, London is fantastic. I mean, the only other place I can compare to, well, I love Paris and I love Venice, and they're both quite small. You can walk everywhere in Paris and Venice and just see everything, but everything's so seeable that you keep wanting to go back.
Yeah, that's what I like about traveling in Europe. A lot of the cities are quite walkable.
I loved it. The fact that everybody doesn't think you have to get in a car to go 2 blocks. I was like, yes, I can actually get out and just amble. And, you know, this hot streets, you can't even fit a car down. I like it.
Well, I have a car, but I still walk to my local shops and do my everyday shopping because it means I can look at the sea. Because I live by the seaside, as I've said 3 times now. At the bottom, if I stand outside my back door, I can look down and see the sea, and it's a wonderful feeling. I love being near water. It's a real pleasure to me. We have a beach hut on the beach, which it's like a shed. A beach hut is like a little shed.
Right.
But you can
There's about
open up
room
the
for
doors.
a table and a bench, yeah.
Oh, there's room for more than that. But it's, we have a whole row of beach huts on the beach. It's just lovely. It's like a little community. You can go down there and we have fireworks and we're digressing.
We're real good at that.
We do a lot of that too.
You must Google in Broadstairs and look at the seafront. It's fantastic.
I've been keeping tabs on several places that either Miles' relatives live in or friends of mine live in. Well, friends of mine live in, but I haven't hit that one yet.
In England, yeah. Broadstairs, all one word.
So while Snooze is looking that up, so I know we could find your products on your website and your Etsy shop. Is there anywhere else we could stumble upon your products?
Only in the Magical Times, which I mentioned earlier.
Okay.
The little magazine. No, not really. No. The only other way that people find me is by word of mouth, really.
Well, I know it's not in our list of questions here, but I know I'd be kind of remiss if I didn't ask this, given that this is a growing demographic for our show. We have a lot of listeners out in Australia and Asia, and I understand shipping will cost more because it's further away, but for countries where there aren't customs issues, like, say, Australia, would you be willing to accept customers from Australia?
Oh yes, I sent to Australia. I've sent to Greece, Canada, Australia. Yeah. Cool. Absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question that Amber gave me, sort of going along the same lines of this, because I know that she's interested in one. Can you do a corset, whether it's steampunk or, sorry if I butcher this, Corton's section of your dresses and stuff without coming and seeing you?
In a couture section, absolutely. I put 2 dresses on yesterday on the couture section, which are corsets, and on the listings it says both of them can be made as custom made dresses. I just need certain measurements from people. Corsets are quite specialist, but as long as you have the right measurements, you can't go wrong. And if you look at my couture section, there's a red corset called Scarlet and a blue corset called Page, and both of those were done purely from measurements, no fit-ins. I just measured the girls and made the corsets. So as long as I have a good set of measurements. I haven't put prices up yet because I'm still thinking about those.
It's quite understandable.
Yeah. Could you give me 1 minute?
Sure, sure.
I'll be back in 1 minute. Hang on.
Yeah, she's way, way further south than just about everybody except Chaps.
Where is she?
Oh,
She said that she was
I
right
was
on
on
the
mute.
border there.
That's right. So
yeah,
she's on the coast of Hornish Channel facing France, right?
she's not too far from Herne Bay,
Okay.
Yeah.
down below Southend-on-Sea.
Wow.
And Chaps lives in Brighton, and Yvonne...
Yeah.
Yvonne was in Kingston on Thames, but she moved, and I don't remember. I know she's still in the London area, but I don't remember which direction she went. Everybody else we know is up north.
That's right.
There's a dig going on right now at Ramsgate.
For what? Not at this time of night.
I'm just playing around with the map.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a wonderful folk festival in Broadstairs in August every year. We have all sorts of bands playing here from all over the world. It's an absolutely fantastic event. Just 1 week. And it's amazing. It's not just folk music. We have Pagan music, all sorts of stuff. Just thought I'd throw that in.
What is it? Because I'm making a list.
Sorry? When is it?
What is it? I'm making a list.
It's a Broadstairs Folk Festival.
I'm bound and determined to get back over. I loved it. I'm bound and determined to get back over, so I'm making a list. And I don't want to do the usual stupid touristy things.
Oh no. We have wonderful folk festivals over here. And you find that performers who come to Broadstairs, in the previous week they've been to Sidmouth or Cambridge. There are some fantastic music things that go on through the summer.
That, and I totally owe Tim mention a beer.
Oh, we're into real ale as well, apparently. But did you get a picture of Broadstairs?
Honestly, I'm a complete idiot. I went to the map and was checking out and going, okay, well, so she lives a little bit north of Chaps, but she lives like east of Yvonne, and she's south of everybody else, and I didn't even go.
Oh. Broadstairs is beautiful. We have a lot of history. Queen Victoria stayed here. Charles Dickens lived here. Have a lot of history.
I want to say I remember something about Broadstairs. I have Coast, the show, most of it anyway. And I want to say that I remember them doing a little featurette on Broadstairs because it sounds the name sounds awfully familiar, but I can't remember which season it would have been.
Oh. Almost everyone I speak to has been to Broadstairs as a child. Everyone in England on a holiday. Is Dave still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here. I just got one last question for you. And I realize this doesn't apply to you, but I think the reason it's being asked is because it's a huge fad in the United States right now amongst the places that do dresses. And the question is, have you considered renting dresses?
Sorry, say that again.
Have you considered renting dresses?
Renting. I have done that in England, but it's not good. Because a lot of medieval events tend to be sort of hog roasts and things.
Oh.
And the dresses come back covered in grease and so no, yeah. I don't. I did, but I don't anymore.
Okay. Well, that's quite understandable given the issues that arise. It's not something that we generally have as a problem in the States. People don't usually take a wedding dress to a pig roast, but I can definitely see what costume dress is that. It's definitely more of a readily apparent issue.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Does anybody else have any other questions before we wrap up?
Oh, this is gorgeous. Sorry, I thought I was on mute again. I finally did go back and get off the map or whatever. This is absolutely gorgeous.
I think we are well and truly informed.
We now are. Thank you very much, Jill, for filling us in. And well, I know when I finally hook up with a girl and we do the whole hand fasting thing, we will probably be giving you a call.
Good.
I got international calling, and I'm in that country every so often anyway. So.
Okay. Please say hello to Amber for me.
We sure will.
And goodbye.
Thank you very much for joining us, Jill.
Okay, it's been fun.
Have a fantastic day.
Good night.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Amber said thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, it is like 2 a.m. there.
Yeah, they get a 5 hour time difference. Yeah.
And 2:30.
No, it's 6 hours now because last week they did daylight savings.
So it's,
Oh yeah. I think this year Europe and the United States lined up.
Did it?
Yep.
I don't know. Nathan was telling me he's 6 hours now again. I don't know.
Usually when they announce the time on either Jack FM or Kerrang, as I listen to them streaming, it's usually about 5 hours ahead.
yeah.
Why did I start echoing all of a sudden?
Because Sam has us on our speaker.
Sam's echoing.
I'm echoing. Shit. Hold on. Do you think maybe... Well, here. Is that any better?
I don't know, is it? Nope, not really.
No? Fuck. Back on mute, go I.
Me and Amanda literally spent the episode looking at the dresses, and she was deciding which one she wants.
There you go.
To Canada.
What? What was that, Dave?
They shipped to Canada.
Sweet.
Really, her prices are insanely good for the work she's doing compared to. I mean, we've got some people around here that are good costumers that do stuff for the renting community. Her prices are fantastic.
Yeah, her prices are good.
Are those $200-some prices the actual prices? Because it looks like they are, but
yeah, the prices are in British pounds, but yeah, you're talking about $200 US-ish. I don't know what it is Canadian nowadays.
It's pretty close right now.
It's like $1 to $1.50.
No, it's
I hadn't looked at
$1.75, $1.80 low.
$1.75. I haven't looked at the exchange rate in a while, but
Yeah, there's fluctuates a little more wildly than the euro.
Those aren't corsets. The corsets are much more.
Oh, Amber just squeaked at me. It said that the dresses themselves are a lot less expensive than the corsets. No, the corseted.
The corsets have steel boning, and that it's as much work to make a corset that actually is boned the way it's supposed to be as it is to make an entire dress.
I have a couple double boned, and I adore them. They feel so. Oh my god, my back actually doesn't hurt.
Yeah, the back support is absolutely fabulous on them. I don't wear the full corset because I need to be able to expand my diaphragm because of my I have some scar tissue in my lungs. But I've got the gypsy bodice corsets. I can be on my feet all day and